Hello, in this video, I'm going to show you how I turned this character into a doll. Her name is Lilou and she is one of the characters of my comic book that I'm working on. She is not the protagonist, but she is the second most important character of the comic book after the protagonist. She is basically my self-insert character, but that doesn't mean that we are exactly the same. There are differences between us. I am biracial, but apparently people refer to me as a reverse biracial because I have a black mother and a white dad, but Lilou has a white mom and a black dad. Lilou has sisters and I have brothers. She has also a younger sibling, but I'm the youngest. However, the things that we have in common is being socially awkward, having autism, and loving dogs. And most importantly, not having friends. I have made Lilou before. She was the first doll I ever made. She was the doll that I casted and printed with a filament printer. But now that I have a resin printer, I wanted to make her again. Because the first doll has so many flaws, I already talked about it. For this doll, however, I had to mix a custom resin color. I used alcohol ink to mix the resin color, but I didn't film it for some reason. When I print a doll, I oftentimes start with their face. And this is also usually the reason why I also start with the face up when I make a doll. When I made my first doll, Lilou was the character that I had in mind when I made her. So she is the character I worked on the most. I went to many different versions of her face till I was happy with it. So it's no surprise that I like her face the most. I sometimes like to make eyes before I start the face up, because it happens many times where I made a face up, liked it, but then I inserted the eyes and I felt like something was missing. It's oftentimes the eyeliner. Like as soon as I put the eyes in, the eyeliner oftentimes seems so, too small, and that I should have made them much bigger. After I was done with her face up, I started to make her wig. I made it similar to the other wig that I made. I started yet again with an elastic band and some lace front fabric, and I sew the elastic loop onto the fabric. And again, there where the front of her wig is, I place another piece of lace front fabric and sew it around the front of her face and cut off the excess. Just like the last time, I rooted in some hair into the lace. In order to save time, I rooted in only a couple of hairs. Then I braided that hair. Then I used this hook tool. Then I used more hair and feed that hair through the braided hair to make the overall braid thicker. I'm not sure if you're actually understanding what I'm trying to say, because I try to explain this to you without using words that I can pronounce or know if it's the correct term to use here. Anyways, in order to make the cornrows, I did the same thing. I rooted in the front a little bit of hair, and then I don't know, with the hook tool, I feed the hair through the smaller braid, and then I braided the hair, and then I basically sew it on with more hair that I put through a needle to give it the look as if it's braided directly onto her scalp. When I sewed on her cornrows, the lace fabric crunched up. Because of it, the wig cap got smaller and smaller. And because of it, I decided to partly detach the elastic band. This time I didn't cut off the excess. This is why I had enough fabric to reposition the elastic band. So after I was done sewing on her cornrows, I could just reattach the elastic band and the wig cap still fit around her whole head. From all the wigs that I made, I think this one is my best one. With that, I was done with her wig and I moved on to making her tattoos. I find it quite difficult to design tattoos because I want them to look cool and unique. Like a tattoo that is very unique and creative, that something that hasn't been done before. Because you want to have tattoos that are very personal to you and just as unique as you are. After all, you will have this tattoo for the rest of your life. To make these tattoos personal to Lilou as a character, I decided to make most of her tattoos dog themed because she loves dogs. I'm not happy with all the tattoos that I designed for her, but for now they are good enough. In order to make her tattoos, I used water slide decal paper. I printed the design onto the paper and then I followed the instruction. I sprayed it with a acrylic gloss. In the instruction it says that you should spray it 3 times and each time waiting 1 minute in between. After the decal paper dried, you can then soak it into warm water and then very slowly sliding it onto the surface. You are supposed to let it dry for 3 hours, but I'm impatient so I use a hairdryer instead. After I applied all the tattoos, I sprayed some acrylic gloss onto the pieces. Then I brushed on some micro glitters. I sprayed on another layer of the acrylic gloss. And then I sprayed on Mr. Super Clear to make the surface matte again. I did this to make the tattoos super durable. I also brushed on micro glitters on the rest of her body and repeated the same process. Then I moved on to making her clothes. As you know, I made this doll before and I wanted to remake all of her clothes again. Last time when I made her clothes, I had to hand sew them because my sewing machine that I had at the time didn't work. And I specifically wanted to redo her clothes because I wanted to see if I can make these clothes better this time, now that I have a sewing machine. So I started with remaking her jacket. However, I didn't like the result. I didn't felt like remaking this jacket, so I decided to redesign the whole outfit. I mean, when I designed this outfit, Lilou had a bit of a different personality, and I always thought that this old outfit didn't fit her new personality, so it kind of makes sense to redesign it. Her new outfit was supposed to have a crop, loose-fitting sweater and a high-waisted baggy pants, but I did not know what I want them to look like. And because I didn't know what the design is going to look like, but still knew that I wanted a loose-fitting cropped sweater, I decided to start with at least with the pattern anyway. And then I used this pattern to make a type of mock-up sweater to test if the pattern works and the sweater looks the way I wanted it to look on the doll. I made a concept art to give me an idea of what type of sweater I wanted to make. I didn't want the sweater to be as simple as the test sweater that I made. I wanted to have a lot of details because I like the tech wear aesthetic. However, when I made the sweater, I didn't like what it looked like. It wasn't just that the design didn't really work, it is also the way I constructed the jacket that I didn't like it. There was a lot of glue marks here and there, and I made the sleeve way too long. So this was the second jacket that failed, and because of it I was kinda tired of making jackets and the top, and decided to move on to her pants. I used some black canvas fabric for her pants, and I altered a pattern that I already made to make these pants. From all the pants that I made, I think these are the best ones. They even have working zippers. After I was done with the pants, I still didn't know what I want the top to look like. So I dressed her up in the pants, in the sweater and the jacket, and I made a photo. And then I added this photo in Procreate. I painted on some white details on the pants in Procreate, and I liked what it looked like, so I decided to paint it on the pants in real life too. But I still didn't know what I wanted the top to look like. When I dressed her up in the sweater, I liked what the sweater looked like in the combination with the pants, but I still felt like they were too simple, and I wanted something that was somewhat simple and at the same time detailed. And it sounds like a contradiction, but I have this Shadow High doll, and she has this sweater on that I really like, that definitely fit this description in my opinion. So I took inspiration from this sweater to make the top for this doll. After I was done sewing the sweater, I put it on to the doll again and edited again in Procreate. I also wanted the sweater to have an interesting design just like the Shadow High doll. However, I didn't have any type of transfer paper that I could use. So I had to come up with a design that was easy to hand paint onto the sweater. I decided to paint on some words, but I didn't know what type of word I should use. Like, I like the look of words on clothing, but I don't know what type of word I should ever write down. This is why I chose her name and the word protector. Why protector, you ask? Because of the Beyonce song. There's no other reason why. I try to design the text so it's very abstract, so people cannot necessarily read it, so it doesn't matter what word I use anyways. After I was done painting the words onto her shirt, I was done with her clothes and I could move on making her shoes. So I printed this shoe base and some fake buckles to make her shoes. I made the shoes the same way I made them the last time, but I run into the same problems. Gluing these shoes onto the shoe base was very difficult once again, and therefore I had to cover up the seam line once again. This time I used a yellow ribbon and resin. I dry brushed these shoes to make them look more dirty. I glued on some earrings onto her ears. With that, I was done with the doll. This is obviously the second time I made this character, so it's no surprise to me that she is the doll I'm the most proud of. But even she has some flaws and certain things I wish I have done differently. I definitely don't like the logo on her shirt and I would love to change it. But the new outfit definitely fits her new personality way better than the old one. But there's still aspects of the old outfit that I like more than the new one. I think the jacket is really unique and full of details. That is a bit lacking with the new outfit. But in comparison, overall, I still like the new outfit way more than the old one. I know what you're thinking. You put so much effort into giving her tattoos, but then you cover them up with a long sleeve sweater? That makes no sense. No, you don't understand. She is a character in a comic book. If I would have given her an outfit that showed off all her tattoos, I would have to draw them over and over again in every scene she is in, and I'm not going to do this to myself. And now you're probably asking, why give her tattoos if you don't want to draw them? Because that makes her cool. I want her to be somewhat cool. I mean, yeah, she's like this socially awkward type of character that is anything but cool, but that's the point. Like, the tattoos is kind of in contrast to that. You know, she is representative of this type of character that people constantly undermine and misunderstand. Actually, I think that her tattoos, and especially the fact that they are covered up, is a perfect representation of what it's like to be an introvert. A lot of the time, as an introvert, you get mischaracterized by people. They oftentimes believe they already know who you are based on your introvert self. But then when they got to know you, they're oftentimes surprised by your true self. And it's also true for Lilou. She's not the type of person people would expect to have tattoos, but then she surprised them every time when she reveals them, that she has actually a lot of tattoos. And I think that makes her pretty cool.